Salam satu khabar jaga semua, selamat raya. So today kita nak cerita pasal the concept of property supply. So supply ni, hari ni bila kita cerita pasal supply, okay, ramai yang cakap property market hari ni adalah oversupply. Okay, so benda tu is basically half correct tapi half not correct. So kenapa saya cakap benda tu? Sebab bila you tengok property market, kita boleh bagikan property market ni kepada 3 kategori. Pertama sekali adalah high end, kedua adalah medium end, ketiga adalah low end. So bila kita tengok majoriti hartanah yang oversupply itu adalah kategori hartanah high end. So apa yang kita nak buat tahun ni guys is to never buy high end property kecuali high end property itu dijual kepada mass market punya price point. So senang cerita macam ni lah. Macam hari ni I pergi shopping kan. I pergi beli banyak kasut Nike dan apa semua tu. And kenapa I beli sampai 4-5 pasang in the last couple of days kasut Nike is because I'm able to buy it at RM110, RM150, RM140. And these are harga untuk, well, I think just slightly more expensive compared to Bata je. So therefore, daripada 400, 500 kepada RM150 tu, then to me is value for money lah. Right? So therefore, I tak kisah beli banyak. So sama juga, macam cerita pasal property high end ni, kalau dia mula dijual pada harga sama level macam kasut Bata, well, you want to be able to buy lah high end property. Why do you want to buy kasut Bata for the same price point when you can get Nike, right? So, tu konsep bila kita cerita pasal oversupply ni, majority oversupply tu berlaku pada kategori high end property, bukan semua jenis property. Itu nombor satu. So bila kita juga tengok juga hari ni ada beberapa kawasan yang kita nampak macam oversupply tapi sebenarnya tak berapa oversupply, and ada kawasan yang nampak macam okey-okey tapi sebenarnya quite oversupply. So kenapa benda ni berlaku? So I nak gunakan contoh menggunakan 4 kawasan ni. Okay, so I nak mula sharekan my screen. Right. So Christina, can you confirm that we have my screen full screen?
Yep.
Okay. So basically, kalau kita cerita pasal supply, sebelum ni kita dah cover new versus old, kita dah cover mean dengan median, kita dah cover tier, kita dah cover booster last week, kita dah cover multiple rental option. So hari ni yang ke-6, which is supply. Esok kita akan cover maturity point, which is the last out of the 7 criteria. And next week, insyaAllah kita akan sharekan property grading. Macam mana nak gradekan property. Macam mana you nak tahu property you okay ke tak okay boleh beli. So kalau ramai yang minta, we'll actually release our grading punya calculator for you guys to go main and use. Okay? So hari ni kita cerita pasal supply. So kalau cerita pasal supply, okay, so kalau korang tengok ni kan, so this is basically gambar dekat KLCC, right? So malam-malam kat KLCC. So bila kita tengok ni, supply kat KLCC ni banyak ke sikit guys? Okay? Mohon type dekat ruang komen, agak-agak. Banyak ke sikit kalau ikutkan supply kat KLCC? Right? So ni KLCC punya menangan malam-malam. 3 km radius pada KLCC. Agak-agak sikit ke banyak supply? Okay? Tengok gambar pun dah tahu kan? Okay? Dan Mount Kiara. Okay? So bila kita tengok aerial view of Mount Kiara, right? Ini pun gambar lama ni tau. Gambar baru ni dah lagi banyak supply ni. So kalau you tengok kat sini kan, laser pointer I. So sekarang ni, ni office kita orang kat sini. Okay, yang ni yang hijau ni sekarang ni dah tak hijau dah. Ya, dah jadi bangunan besar, dah ada mall. Ni semua ni dah penuh. All the way to belakang sini semua tu pun dah bina. Yang ni dulu ni petrol station sebelah dia kosong je. Sekarang ni dah jadi apa? Dah jadi bangunan dah jadi hotel dengan service resident, right? So therefore, the question of supply ni, guys, kalau ikutkan, Mount Kiara ni banyak supply dia, right? Banyak gila supply dia. So, Mount Kiara pun banyak supply, KLCC pun banyak supply, right? And then kita move to the next area, and this is Bukit Jalil. So kalau you tengok kat sini Bukit Jalil punya supply, nak kata sikit pun tak sikit, tapi memang tak, orang cakap tak sebanyak Mount Kiara, tak sebanyak KLCC, that's for sure, right? So you boleh nampak stadium Bukit Jalil tu kat sini, and then all these condo, and then there are more condos today yang dekat Bukit Jalil ni, right? And then last kali ni, this is basically Cyberjaya. So kalau kita tengok kan, of all these 4 kawasan ni, KLCC, Mount Kiara, Bukit Jalil dengan Cyberjaya. Bila kita tengok Cyberjaya ni paling kurang lah density dia kan. Sebab dia kondo dia bukan sikit, ada banyak juga. Tapi dia kawasan dia besar. Right, kawasan dia besar. So therefore, bila you tengok density pada kawasan tu, you takkan rasa macam Cyberjaya ni lebih tinggi density dia, lebih high density, lagi banyak supply. Let's say berbanding dengan Mont Kiara ataupun KLCC in terms of per kilometer punya supply. Okay. But despite Cyberjaya, kalau ikut daripada aerial view and of course total number supply tu is lesser compared to KLCC, Bukit Bintang, KLCC, Mont Kiara, Bukit Jalil. Okay. Bila kita tengok kan, Cyberjaya has got the least amount supply. Tapi bila kita tengok sewa 2013 versus sewa hari ni, ada banyak beza. Tahun 2013 ada studio unit di Cyberjaya yang kita boleh sewakan pada harga 1,800 sampai 2,000. Okay. Kalau you ingat dulu Shabri Square, right? Dulu sewa 2002 studio unit guys. Hari ni tak dapat lah. Hari ni bawah pada 1,000 pun boleh dapat. Okay. Kenapa? Sebab supply studio unit naik berkali ganda semenjak tahun 2013. Therefore, bila supply tu, demand banyak ni, supply daripada banyak ni naik kepada sini, apa akan jadi? Value akan mula jatuh. Ya, sebab terlampau banyak supply tak matching dengan demand dia. Okay. Lepas tu, kes nombor 2 adalah dulu Bukit Jalil kalau new condo 2,500, 3,000 tu usuk-usuk boleh dapat. As of today, below 2,500 tu easy. I have a friend brand partly furnished pun 1,600 je. Kondo baru siap kat Bukit Jalil. Kenapa? Again, supply. Supply of new condo kat Bukit Jalil lah satu day. Right? Total supply of condo in the last 10 years kat Bukit Jalil, so far, based on our record, is lebih pada 10,000 unit. Okay. Now, KLCC as of today, kalau you tengok, I'm referring to big size unit je sebab again supply ni bergantung. Kalau macam contoh small unit tak banyak supply kat KLCC kalau banding dengan big size unit. Okay. So big size unit dulu sebelum tahun 2010 boleh sewa 15,000, boleh sewa 20,000 sebulan for 2,000 hingga 3,000 square foot. Today 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 pun boleh dapat. So sewa tu dah jatuh banyak, more than 50%. Okay. And Mont Kiara today, despite banyak gila supply of condo, studio, for example, things like Al-Quris naik all the way to pergi 3,000 sebulan untuk 450 square foot, tak sampai studio dekat Al-Quris. Mont Kiara 22, which is a brand new punya 2,000 to 3,000 square foot punya condo dekat Mont Kiara ni, Jalan Kiara 4 ni, is asking lebih pada 800 per square foot. Ada transaction lebih pada 800 per square foot. Sewa, makeover gas boleh conclude lebih pada 12,000, 13,000 sebulan. Untuk kondo 4 bilik, 2,000 square foot. Okay guys. So, pelik tak? Kenapa kawasan yang macam Cyberjaya ni, right? Kawasan yang macam Cyberjaya ni, sepatutnya supply dia kalah dengan Mont Kiara, kalah dengan Bukit Jalil, kalah dengan KLCC. Bila tengok dia punya supply of studio unit, sebab yang tu paling banyak, okay? Dulu sewa 1,800, hari ni bawah 1,000. Sebab apa? Supply terlampau banyak. But at the same time, Bukit Jalil juga ada banyak, tapi harga dia tak adalah jatuh separuh. Jatuh 20-30%. KLCC jatuh lebih kurang 40-50% ya, untuk saiz besar. Unit kecil maintain je. Mont Kiara despite a lot of supply, tapi sebab supply studio unit baru kat Mont Kiara tu sedikit sangat, Al-Quris ni boleh maintain daripada 2,500, mula 2002 siap, all the way to 2,500, 2006, today, all the way lebih daripada 3,000 pun dalam sewa. Mont Kiara 22, rumah baru siap ni, kondo ni, despite banyak supply of kondo baru kat Mont Kiara, it is still able to command lebih pada 10,000 sebulan ni sewa. So what's the real difference? Sebab you nak cakap Cyberjaya has got more supply than Mont Kiara, the answer is no. Cyberjaya don't have more supply than KLCC, more supply than Bukit Jalil is not, right? Between these 3-4 areas, Cyberjaya has got the least amount of total supply. Okay, so what's the difference here, guys? Right? So bila kita cerita pasal oversupply, orang selalu cakap, aku lalu kat tempat tu, aku tengok bangunan banyak bangunan high-rise, siapa yang duduk bangunan-bangunan ni? So therefore dia punya gauge of oversupply tu, dia tengok bangunan banyak, tempat tu mesti oversupply. Okay. Therefore, itu cara orang tengok benda tu oversupply ataupun tak oversupply lah, which to me is wrong, right? Now, I give you a perspective juga, kenapa benda ni sangat berbahaya bila cerita pasal supply ni. Sebab the wrong information will cost you a lot of money. And if I listen to some of this advice, I would have rugi minimum 400,000. Okay. Now, back in 2012-2013, I'm hunting for a own stay property, right? And you know, I've got the ZES at that point of time, you know, baru siap yang kita orang boleh pindah untuk duduk, and orang tengah minta harga 400-420 per square foot. Okay, 400 hingga 420 per square foot. So, I pergi Usha tengok ZES is nice dan apa semua tu, tapi I don't know lah, I don't want to stay in Bukit Jalil sebab my mother-in-law stay dulu dekat apa tu, Kelana Jaya, and my mom stays dekat Sentul, right? So Bukit Jalil tu is like macam daripada hujung sini ke hujung sini ke hujung sana. So to me it's not convenient at all, right? And I wanted somewhere in between Kelana Jaya, I wanted somewhere in between of Sentul. So therefore I nak somewhere tengah-tengah. So Bukit Jalil isn't going to cut it. So I Usha Mont Kiara. No, I've never thought about staying dekat Mont Kiara Dutamas simply because, you know, the perception is rumah mahal. Ya, rumah expensive, rumah mahal, tempat orang kaya. And I find out one thing, the older condos kat sana is selling for less than 400 ringgit per square foot. Okay, less than 400 ringgit per square foot. Bandar Kirara is more expensive. Puchong is more expensive kalau new condo. Kalau compare dengan Mont Kiara, which to me, it doesn't make sense lah. Sebab location Mont Kiara is a lot better. Right? So, bila I tanya pendapat, at that point of time, rajin pergi forum kan. And I tanyalah pendapat. And guess what guys? Semua orang kat forum cakap, jangan bro, Mont Kiara oversupply. Jangan bro, Mont Kiara oversupply. Have you seen the number of building kat sana? Jangan bro, Mont Kiara oversupply. Basically, no one basically said, Mont Kiara is the place that you should buy. But to me, it doesn't make sense for people to pay 400 ringgit per square foot kat PJ, dekat Puchong, dekat Bandar Kirara, dekat Bukit Jalil, when I can buy Mont Kiara Dutamas at 400 ringgit per square foot or even below, even though lama sikit lah, right? So to me, despite no one supported the idea tu kat forum kan, rajin kat forum kan, and semua orang cakap jangan beli, you know, forum knows everything. And apa tu? I went ahead and buy, right? And guess what, guys? From year 2015 all the way to 2018, Mont Kiara is one of the best performer in terms of kenaikan harga, right? Kenaikan harga of property. My property went from a 690,000 to now 1.1 million punya market value. So that's 400,000. If I were to listen to a forum punya opinion, and guess what lah, in forum anyone can say anything that they want kan, simply because, well, no one verifies anything, right? I would have lost this 400,000, I would have stayed in Puchong, right? If I listened to a forum. But I did not. I'm very happy with my choice today. I'm making 400,000. I sold the ZES at 420 per square foot to buy something kat Mont Kiara for less than 400 ringgit per square foot. So to me, doesn't make sense that Puchong, Bandar Kirara ni lagi mahal daripada Mont Kiara. So just because someone says oversupply, it doesn't mean it's completely oversupply, because you really have to understand what segment of property that is really, really and truly oversupply. Okay. So, fast forward, today, if I want to rent out my property, I can easily get what? 8-9% rental yield. And this is benda yang beli 2013, bukannya long ago. Right? So, I'm quite happy, despite semua orang waktu tu cakap jangan beli sebab oversupply kat sana. Right? But to me, oversupply ke tak oversupply ke, if you beli pada harga yang betul, you're gonna be okay. Yeah. So case to point, when I beli kat Mont Kiara, oversupply. But I bought at 370 ringgit per square foot. I bought cheaper than PJ, I bought cheaper than Bandar Kirara, I bought cheaper than Puchong, I bought cheaper than Bukit Jalil. There's no way I will lose money. Does that make sense? Alright. Then, we don't like to buy an area that has oversupply, tapi for example in 2017, 2016, we end up buying somewhere very near to Bukit Jalil, 1 or 2 stations away, yeah, to Bukit Jalil. And you know Bukit Jalil has got oversupply. But guess what? We bought brand new property, guys, at 420 ringgit per square foot. Okay, even though kawasan tu banyak oversupply, but because when we compare all the supply kat Bukit Jalil and nearby the area, it's all 500, 600, 700, 800 per square foot pun ada. So when we buy at 420 per square foot, and today, bayar bank bulan-bulan 1,007, dapat sewa sampai 3,600. So, I think my clients are very happy with those purchases. On top of that, rumah tu, despite Bukit Jalil punya property value has maintained ataupun drop in certain segment, this one has basically gone up by almost 20%. So again, guys, supply is one thing, but if you enter at the right price, you're going to be okay. But you enter at a fair price, lepas tu supply berlambat, and boom. Okay, bila supply tu and is peak, that's when you will suffer. Okay. So, ultimately, Cyber dengan Bukit Jalil has got less supply than Mont Kiara KLCC, tapi KLCC dengan Mont Kiara rental are still holding quite well, right? And if you want to ask what's the real reason behind this, okay, it is dua benda ni. Satu here is that usage, and nombor dua adalah job creation. Now, if you build 10,000 new condos into an area, normally you can say that area will be oversupplied. But 10,000 is very hard to absorb. You know when it doesn't become oversupply? When you have more jobs coming into the area compared to the number of units being created. Then you cannot say it's oversupply. Sebab there are more job opportunity berbanding dengan supply. Does that make sense? Right? Now, again, kenapa kita orang macam daripada dulu macam we warn people jangan beli Dangabe, jangan beli Berdini and apa semua tu, simply because we don't think there's going to be enough jobs going to be created to cater for all the supply yang bakal ada dekat Dangabe tu and all the supply yang bakal ada dekat Berdini tu for the next 5 to 10 years. But macam biasa, siapalah Faizul Ridwan, apa benda lah yang Mamat ni tahu, seorang tak dengar. So dia pergi beli. Hari ni, Oyan, rumah tak boleh sewa. Kalau nak jual, kena jual at 300,000 loss. Dulu beli 600,000. Hari ni kalau jual 300,000 pun belum tentu ada orang nak beli. Okay? So guys, first is job creation. Nombor dua, usage. Usage ni means, ramai tak orang yang nak perlukan benda. Right? Because we are buying for investment, betul tak? So, ada tak ramai keperluan untuk orang nak sewa ataupun nak beli rumah tu pada kita? Now, I'll give you example. Kenapa the rental dekat Mont Kiara is holding very well? If you are a foreigner ataupun you are a local foreigner. So, if you are a foreigner ataupun local foreigner. So, foreigner means the Korean, the Jepun, and the Masaleh yang apa semua tu. The local foreigner ni, for example, dulu you kerja kat Sabah, now got transfer to KL, right? If you have certain budget and title, normally the first recommendation of area is KLCC, Bangsa dengan Mont Kiara. So kat tiga ni. Well, level of demand is high simply because these three are the main areas yang agent akan bawa orang hidup. So therefore, the demand tu quite strong lah, right? And it's not really catering to people yang kat dalam tu saja. So for example, macam, I always tell, people always say, will Puncak Alam ataupun Semenyih become the next SP Setia? The next SP Alam. Semenyih dengan Puncak Alam, right? Because developer lebih kurang sama, and the master plan, the story lebih kurang sama. And I always tell people, no guys, it will not be the same. Sebab Setia Alam ada ramai upgrade daripada Kelang pergi duduk kat Setia Alam. Second generation kat Kelang tak nak duduk kat Kelang sebab Kelang tak lawa, dia pergi beli kat Setia Alam. Ramai retirees after dah banyak duit, dia tak mau duduk kat Kelang, again dia pergi beli kat Setia Alam. So there's many upgraders kat sana. Desa Park City, Kepong pun sama juga. So ada ramai orang yang memang nak upgrade, nak duduk kat tempat tu. In the case of Puncak Alam, who will upgrade to Puncak Alam? Semenyih. Who will upgrade to Semenyih? Cyberjaya. Who is upgrading to Cyberjaya? Nearby. Tak ada. Sebab kat sana tanah terlampau banyak lagi kosong. Tak ada kepadatan penduduk. So usage tu tak bagus. And then of course bila you compare and you tengok, KLCC punya job creation memang number one in the country in the last 20 tahunan. There are more jobs being created around KLCC area compared to Bukit Jalil ataupun Cyberjaya. Full stop. Now, why does Mont Kiara favors quite well? Sebab Mont Kiara is 15 to 20 minutes away to KLCC je. And they are the 4 international schools. So kalau you expect between KLCC and Mont Kiara, you akan pilih Mont Kiara. Sebab apa? Ada 4 sekolah. Okay. So guys, the definition of supply, whether the area is oversupply ataupun tidak, adalah bergantung kepada usage dan juga job creation yang bakal ada kat sana. If there are more jobs going to be created compared to the supply, even 10,000 supply is still under supply. Okay. But you ada 10,000 unit, jobs 1,000, then it becomes oversupply. In fact, you buat 2,000 unit, job cuma 20, oversupply. Okay. So this is ilmu yang mahal. It took me years to faham benda ni, right? Took me years to faham benda ni, and again, there's no one out there yang akan ajar you pasal property investment and ask you to really look at job creation. Sebab they don't know, they don't care. To them, rental yield, rental real. Sumbat lagi ramai kepala dalam rumah tu lagi bagus, right? So for me, we are a little bit more different. We like I said, we study a lot of real estate market, bukan kat Malaysia je. And like I said, the demand tu is something that you kena faham before you beli. So the real question of supply is that where is the demand going to come from? Kalau the demand will be more than the supply, there's no such thing as oversupply. Tapi, kalau demand is going to be weaker compared to supply, then you have oversupply. Sebab, kalau ada 5 unit dia, tapi demand hanya untuk 1 unit, oversupply by 400%. You bina 5,000 unit, tapi ada 10,000 peluang pekerjaan bakal dicipta. Then you are undersupply by 50%. Does that make sense? So, jangan lepas ni guna this concept primitif ataupun dinosaur punya thinking of bangunan banyak kat sini, so mesti oversupply. Because it's not true lah guys. Kalau tak kan, KLCC dah lama oversupply. Bukit Bintang dah lama oversupply. Okay. So, I hope you guys dapat banyak insights daripada perkongsian malam ni. Okay. And if you compare, for example, property yang kita orang tengah beli hari ni, you know, from a supply point of view, we always try to make sure number one, kita beli property nearby public transportation. Sebab apa kita orang suka public transportation? Sebab bila you ada public transportation, you ada beratus ribu peluang pekerjaan. Okay. Let me repeat. Bila you beli nearby public transportation, you have access to beratus ribu peluang pekerjaan. So if you tengok at everything that we buy as of today, of all this, for example, for property, semua ni akan ada MRT, ataupun dah ada LRT sedia ada. And therefore, kita orang memang tak takut langsung pasal demand simply because demand kita orang is 6 angka setahun. Right? We're not worried about supply. Okay. So for example, macam the grade A ni yang positive cash flow boleh sampai 1,000 lebih ni, you ada less than 3,000 supply tapi 20,000 peluang pekerjaan dalam 3 km radius and akan ada MRT boleh jalan kaki. Right? Yang ni pula is memang bawah dia ada LRT station, tak sampai 2,000 supply in the area tapi 5,000 dalam 3 km radius sebab address KL. Lepas tu ada LRT station kat bawah, meaning job ada 6 angka. Yang ni pula, yang ni paling banyak job lah senang cerita. Grade B, cashback 140,000 masih boleh dapat positive cash flow. Supply tak sampai 5,000 tetapi lebih daripada 20,000 high value jobs. So not just jobs, high value jobs. So maksudnya gaji 5,000 dan ke atas bakal dicipta within 3 km punya radius. Ada 3 LRT dengan MRT line. So maksudnya peluang pekerjaan yang ada 7 angka guys. Lebih pada 1 juta peluang pekerjaan because you ada access kepada 3 LRT dengan MRT station. Yang last kali tu, right, yang ni basically you ada 1 je MRT. Supply memang tak banyak, you beli bawah pada harga median, you are going to be okay lah, even dapat cashback, masih dah boleh dapat positive cash flow. So again, supply something yang kita orang tengok actually quite diligently, yang kita orang sangat berhati-hati bila cerita pasal supply ni. Sebab we have seen Cyberjaya what happened. Rental dulu 1,800, boleh jadi sekarang ni 800 pun ada. So we don't want that to happen to any of the property that we buy, therefore, whatever yang kita orang beli, kita orang akan pastikan yang supply dia masuk akal. Okay, so that means the number of jobs usage will be higher compared to the number of property yang bakal dibina. Okay. So, summary dia guys, cerita supply. Harga kena betul, premium of new versus old pun kena betul. Sebab yang tu lagi penting daripada supply. Sebab if you beli area yang under supply tapi kau bayar harga 200% lebih pada median pun still mati juga. So jangan salah bayarlah, senang cerita. Right? Lepas tu you kena faham what is the idea of supply, because to me supply tu you kena define versus usage dengan job creation. Okay? Sebab kalau you just tengok berapa banyak bangunan yang ada kat situ, lepas tu you buat this idea whereby tempat ni oversupply sebab bila aku lalu sana aku nampak banyak bangunan tinggi-tinggi. Therefore, you akan miss out on Mount Kiara. You know, aku dah miss out Mount Kiara, nasib baik I tak dengar cakap orang. Okay, because semua orang cakap Mount Kiara oversupply, Mount Kiara oversupply, Mount Kiara oversupply, Mount Kiara oversupply. Sampai hari ini, orang masih cakap Mount Kiara oversupply. What they don't understand here is that oversupply against what? Okay. Why is the demand for 500, 600 ringgit, 700 ringgit per square foot older property so strong? 2-3 bulan je confirm habis jual. Right? Orang nak jual tak ramai, banyak orang duduk untuk pakai sendiri, local. Masalah foreigner, middle upper class punya expat pun suka duduk kat sini. International school ada 4 penuh. So therefore guys, you must define the supply properly, otherwise you akan jadi one of the people yang tengok bangunan banyak sangat supply ni, therefore you tak beli. Padahal you tak faham maksud supply tu. Right? Dan last sekali, always ensure that you ada additional connectivity. After jobs within 3 km radius tu, you kena juga make sure you ada certain level of connectivity. Sebab kalau you ada access to MRT station means you ada access to beratus ribu punya jobs. Therefore, orang yang boleh duduk dekat kondo you ataupun apartment you tu tak semestinya orang yang kerja kat situ. Okay. Kerja kat KLCC, dia akan duduk sewa kat tempat you even though your tempat is somewhere like 30 minutes from KLCC, simply because I just go down, take a train, within half an hour I dah sampai kat KLCC. Right? So 2 is the idea of supply. Right? So guys, I hope you enjoy perkongsian malam ni. You dapat belajar banyak benda pada perkongsian malam ni. So again, kita tak cerita pasal sembang gebang. We talk about data. We talk about historical case study. And this is kenapa, for example, why certain property yang kita grade as actually individually the property ya. Katalah that single property tu memang there's nothing wrong. Property tu okay. Grade B, kadang-kadang grade A. Tapi sebab terlampau banyak supply, so job creation, kita downgrade dia pergi grade B. Kita downgrade dia pergi grade C, right? Sebab supply dia terlampau banyak, right? So for us supply ni benda yang whereby you kena jaga-jaga, you kena tengok. And that's why, for example, macam one of the things that we do for client here is that kita akan bagi tahu kalau tempat tu bakal jadi oversupply, maybe we all have to exit. Yeah. So since we have a bit more information compared to the public, right? Due to my access to information, we have certain level of advantage, and therefore we are using that to safeguard my personal interest and juga our clients punya property punya interest, right? So guys, so sekian untuk perkongsian malam ini. I think it's short and sweet. And tomorrow kita nak cerita pasal maturity point, the last out of the 7 criteria bila property tu boleh buat duit. Okay. And then on Thursday pula kita akan buat Q&A berkenaan dengan supply dan juga maturity point. Most likely kita akan buat again. You boleh tanya about 5 to 10 property review. Kita akan cuba jawab as many as possible within that half an hour, 45 minutes on Thursday. Berkenaan dengan maturity point dan juga supply. Okay. And this is the reason, for example, bila you tengok supply, it's not difficult to predict apa harga sewa dia 5 tahun pada sekarang. Right? And then last kali on Friday, minggu lepas kita tak buat sebab raya. We have a lot of inquiries, orang yang nak jadi client, and therefore you can register at the link given I think by my team member. Kejap lagi kat ruangan komen, register for the Friday session if you intend to become a client and you want to take advantage of being able to buy property yang macam ni lah. Not only dapat positive cash flow, saya boleh dapat cashback, and you beli property yang orang cakap supply dia masuk akal. Okay, so guys, looking forward to see you tomorrow. Looking forward to see you on Thursday, and mereka nak jadi client, I look forward to see you on Friday. See you soon. Assalamualaikum. Take care guys. Salam satu kapitalisme. Bye.